right. Question number 6. This comes from Sandra or Sandra Chrisman.
Yep.
Chrisman.
Client. Ex-client, I'm not allowed to say.
But in the good way.
Yes.
She says, hi guys.
With Laz.
Love
Laz
Q&A. Yep. This is an actual training question, but it might really help people like me who want to get a new addition to the pack and train it TGD way.
Yeah.
I want to adopt from the shelter to save a life if possible. I'm looking forward to training him and her with your principles. Question is how to make a good selection in an environment that most dogs find stressful, to say the least. Do you have any pearls of wisdom for us adopting that might help us make the best or better choice? I wondered if there's different considerations, like because my current dog is a male, although we socialize with a pair of female dogs. If my current dog is e-collar trained but still is fearful, do I look for a more confident dog, a more relaxed, happy-go-lucky dog? Thanks for any advice and insight.
This is such an awesome question.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've ever had it before.
Yeah, about integrating and
No, and like picking a dog. Yeah. So Sandra, way to go with keeping us on our toes with a good question. So here's the thing, like I was thinking about that. I was talking with Brittany today and was talking about the answer to your question, and I was really picturing, because like a lot of trainers provide a service where they go to shelters and help people pick out dogs, and we don't really do that. So I don't spend a ton of time in shelters. I've definitely, like, all my dogs came from there except for Belle, who's on the freeway. So I am experienced with it, but it's not like something that I do every day or every week or something like that. But here's what I would go with. I mean, when you asked that question, I started to think about myself. And I was like, oh, Sean, you're so great. Self. No, I was starting to think about my guys, right? And what they look like at the shelter. And here's what I'd recommend, right? So everybody knows about kennel craze and how shelters make dogs really stressed out and really freaked out and really anxious. What I'd look for is the dog who's in that environment and rocking. Honestly, like, I think this is maybe the best, most solid advice I can give you is walk into the shelter, and the dogs that are barking crazily at the door, that's not a good choice. The dog who's shut down in the back, that's not a good choice. The dog who's unsure and like vacillating back and forth, not a good choice. The dog who, like, in the midst of all that stress and chaos, walks right up politely, sniffs you, licks your hand, something like that. Like, you can feel politeness, you can feel courteous behavior, you can feel like quiet confidence in a dog without the dog, like, when a lot of people say confidence, they mean like the dog's jumping up on the thing like, hey, pick me. But like, I picture Belle. When I picture like a dog in a shelter situation, I picture my girl Belle, and I just know that it wouldn't matter what was going on. Right? She'd just be hanging out, and if you walked up to the shelter door, she'd walk right up to you, she'd lick your hand, and she'd be awesome. And that has little to do with me. That has much more to do. Can they hear me still? Yeah.
Give it a second.
Give it a little bit. It has little to do with me and has a lot more to do with just fundamentally who she is. Junior, when I found him in the shelter, was literally like in his
dog that
he was like at day camp. He's like, all these guys are crazy. He's like, what's cooking, guys? He was just easygoing and just comfortable with it. And I didn't get to see Manny in the shelter, but my suspicion would be that Manny would largely be just who Manny is. Manny's not going to be at the he'd probably be sleeping, laying there. So I think you really have an opportunity. It's kind of a cool thing, and I never really thought about it, but I think it's a cool thing and a cool opportunity that what you get to do is go in, see dogs in a really high-stress situation, and then pick dogs that are coping really well with that. And then if you pull them out of the shelter...
Not the dog in the corner, like, being nervous.
Yeah.
Not that dog, but the dog that's just, okay,
just easy with it. Yeah, and I kind of mentioned that, like, don't go for the one that's nuts at the thing, and don't go for the one that's really shut down or anything like that. Don't feel bad for them. But if you pull a dog out of there that has that kind of, like, ability to tolerate stress in the world, that dog's going to thrive in, like, being at home, like, around, like, your family's over for Christmas. That dog's going to be like, big deal. I've been in the big house. I know what, like, I know what real stress is. This is piece of cake. So try and keep your heart out of it, and try and keep your mind and your emotions tuned into what you're really seeing. And I truly believe you can see courteousness, politeness, demeanor if you look for it. If you get past the, like, he's being celebratory, and you really look for, like, what's the vibe coming off this dog? you can really get a feel for what's going on with that. So that's the main advice. Just pick the one that's thriving in that environment because it sets you way ahead of the game. And then I would most likely get a female. And you said what kind, like confident or whatever. I would say male. With you've got a male dog, I'd grab a female because it tends to be a much easier integration. And I'd just look for a sweet, polite female. Like confident is like being sweet and polite. That's confidence. Confidence isn't like going up and like manhandling other dogs or like, I mean, you could say it's like happy-go-lucky confidence, but what I would love for you guys to have is not a dog that's like doesn't have any personality or mopey, but it like I just think Belle's a good example because Belle's very playful, but she also knows how to shut it off and just be chilled out and relaxed. So kind of look for that. Look for that polite, sweet dog that's going to be a pleasure to integrate and be easy for Laz so he can learn how to tolerate it. So hopefully that helps. That's a good question though.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.